What I'm trying to do here is to give Biafrans opportunity to express themselves. If you have a superior argument, all you need to do is to send a request. I will bring you in when the time comes so that you can present your superior argument. At the end of the day, you might end up convincing us, and I bet you I will help you to promote your own agenda or whatever speech you made. But while you are coming, make sure you have facts and figures in your fingertip so that you can back up whatever you are presenting here, because a lot of people are watching. The people that are watching the program is not just Biafrans. There are people, non-Biafrans, who are watching our program. That is why each time we come here, our main duty is to present Biafra to the world as the only remedy to the failed state Nigeria. We will continue to do that. We will continue to present Biafra to the world, and we will continue to make a case for Biafra. It does not matter what the enemies are doing, the attack that is coming from right, left, and center, the abuse, the insult. It doesn't matter how far they hold us down. This message must be preached, and that we continue to preach the message of Biafra every single day. This is the assignment I have taken up by myself. Nobody forced me into it. Nobody is paying me to do it. I do it because it concerns me. It is about my future. It's about my generation unborn. It's about a legacy that must be protected. That is why I signed up for it. And with every little time I have, with every little opportunity, I will speak. So my fellow Biafrans, I welcome every one of you, wherever you are joining from. We will continue to speak. Remember, today is Monday. Monday has always been a day that the Biafran people have chosen to express their disapproval of what Nigeria is doing in Biafra land. Monday, sit at home, was adopted by the Biafrans. A civil disobedience to make it clear to the world the stand of Biafran people in that contraction called Nigeria. It is a day Biafrans choose to show the world that Nigeria has lost legitimacy in Biafran territory. It is a day the Biafran came together to show the world that every political appointee in Biafran land have lost legitimacy. They have no legitimacy in Biafran territory. It is a day that Biafrans use to show the world that they are in charge of their territory. Biafrans have engaged in that for more than 5 years and still counting. There has been so many controversies surrounding the issue of the sit at home on Monday. But I bet you, with all the massive attack, with all the forceful attack of the government on the Biafran people to come out, as we speak till date, Biafrans are still observing the sit at home. If anybody tells you that nobody is complying or observing, that is a big lie. Even after the order that was given by Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, which is not the first time Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, we have heard he gave an order. We are not there, but those who goes to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu to get information and those he contacts said that he told them, he confided in them and said that the sit at home should relax. But Biafrans on their own picked up the sit at home and continued to do it, even after the last information that was sent by the Liberation Army of Biafra, that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu said that Biafrans should relax the sit at home. The Biafrans have continued. The most important thing is that the sit at home, civil disobedience, is not forced. Has never been forced. Was never forced at any point in time. And I want everyone to put this in your head. Because the notion that people continue to create out there, the notion that the people continue to create is that sit at home is being forced. From day one, it was never forced. The people that put the sit at home in place was the DOS. And when the DOS called off the sit at home, the Biafrans said no. That is the only way they can be able to vent their desire and their request to release Mazen Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. Even our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa Njoku, who today they put it on his head that he's the one that kept the sit at home. Mazi Simon Ekpa, when the sit at home was called off by the DOS, Mazi Simon Ekpa asked the Biafran people to listen to the DOS because they were in charge. He asked the Biafrans to listen. But the Biafrans, on their own, chose what they feel is right for them. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not just an ordinary leader. He's not just an ordinary person in the street. This is somebody who has put his own life on the line. He has put his own life on the line. The life of his own parents have been taken. And Biafrans know the pain he's going through. And they continue to sit at home. Mazi Simon Ekpa never forced anybody. The only thing he did was to support the will of the people. Mazi Simon Ekpa supported the will of the people and continued to support the will of the people up to this moment as we speak. He never enforced sit at home. He never enforced the Monday sit at home in any way, in any shape or form. Mazi Simon Ekpa never enforced the Monday sit at home. It is the will of the people. That was why, even after he was detained in Finland, after the Nigerian government connived with the Finland authorities and detained Mazi Simon Ekpa with their crooked and fraudulent judgment in their court, whereby they rejected every evidence that Mazi Simon Ekpa has on his side was rejected in their court. They convicted him and they gave him 6 years, which we are waiting for his appeal that is going to come up on the 8th of August 2026. By 5th of August, Mazi Simon will be in the court to challenge that very sentence that was given to him, handed to him, which was done in a fraudulent manner. He didn't have a proper representation. So even in the absence of Mazi Simon Ekpa all this while, it's been going to 2 years. The sit at home has continued by the Biafran people without anybody enforcing it. The Biafrans on their own continue to obey this, even in the absence of the Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa. Only for recently, the government of Anambra State under Seibo went and activated another force to force people against their will to come out on Monday sit at home. Seibo activated that and began to force Biafrans, threatening Biafrans, taking over their shops, destroying their properties, attacking Biafrans that they must come out against their will on Monday. Because that was the assignment given to him by the caliphate, by the Nigerian government, because they have seen that the entire world is seeing it clearly that they have no legitimacy in Biafra land. At a point in time, even their Senate president was saying it, that our Prime Minister, Mazi Simon Ekpa, was in charge, that the Biafran people are in charge of the television, and not those who claim to be representing them. That point was very, very clear. It was very clear, and the entire world saw it. And they used Seibo to activate the attack on the sit at home, framing it that people are enforcing it. But from all that they have done, all the attack, even at the highest peak, which was last Monday, Biafran sat at home. And I showed the evidence here online, which today, before the end of the program, I am still going to show you the video of the situation today. Whatever be the situation. But it has been made clear after the announcement of the Liberation Army of Biafra that nobody is enforcing the sit at home, and they will never ever enforce the sit at home. It is the will of the people, that the people have the right, and they have the right to choose either to sit at home or not to sit at home. It is according to their own will. They made it very clear. So it has become very clear that whatever you see today is the will of the people. Nobody enforced sit at home. Monday sit at home. From the day one, the Monday sit at home was put in place by the Biafrans themselves and continue to sustain it for more than 5 years now. But Nigerian government sees that as a threat, because that is a confirmation of the Biafran unity that scares them so much. One of the things that scares Nigerian government so much is the presence, the unity among the Biafrans. It scares them a lot. It scares them. The unity of the Biafran people scares them. That is why they are sit-at-home, because the sit-at-home is one of the significant things that shows that Biafrans have lost interest in this volatile republic. They are no longer interested. They are gone completely. It's a confirmation that they are gone. It's a confirmation that Nigerian government has no legitimacy in Biafra land. It's a confirmation that every political leader in Biafra land has no legitimacy. They don't have the mandate of the people. So they try to change it by force. That was why Soludo came up with all different kinds of maneuver, propaganda, going to Abuja to tell his paymaster that he has done it, he has stopped it at home. We are watching, we are seeing, and it's still ongoing. And today, we are still going to bring a report. I just gave this brief for you to understand that when the reason they are fighting for sit at home is not because of the so-called money they say they are losing. It is not for the money they are losing. It is because the sit at home is a confirmation of they are not having legitimacy in Biafran territory. It is a confirmation that the Biafra is no longer part of whatever Nigeria is discussing. That the Nigerian discourse is unacceptable. It is a confirmation and reminder to the world that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has illegally been convicted with a non-existent law and illegally taken to Sokoto for detention. It's a confirmation that Biafrans are no longer interested in the Zoroastrian Republic. It's a reminder to the world that every attack against Biafrans will be responded to, that we are not cowards. And it's a confirmation mostly to the world that we are united in this request. We are united. I can bet you for this past 5 years and counting, more than 60% of Biafran people has been complying to the sit at home. You can't get 100%. Nobody's claiming to have 100%, but I can bet you for the past 5 years, more than 60%, more than 60%, even 70% have been complying. And you can't take that away from us. The world is watching, and they are so scared about that unity. The sit at home destroys the notion. Sit at home destroys the notion that people have that Biafrans are not united. They can't do anything in one mind. They cannot support each other. They don't love each other. The sit at home destroys that notion. Every single propaganda they put in place against us in the course of our journey, freedom, sit at home is a massive pullback that disgraces that very thing they have in their mind. That is why they are fighting it with everything they have. But I thank Biafran people that so many of us are still standing strong. So many of us have that conviction that there is no sacrifice that is too much for freedom. So many of us have that conviction that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has paid more than enough sacrifice for us not to forget him. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has paid a heavy price for us not to forget him. Mazen Simon Ekpa, equally, it is now paying a price that some of us cannot even bear to risk. Mazen Simon Ekpa put every single thing he has worked for in his life on the line. For a man to attain a height that Mazen Simon can have attained outside the country, in a foreign land, you attain such a height that you are a politician, you served in the military. You served the military, you have won elections, and you are in a ruling party. And yet you decide to sacrifice it for the freedom of the people, and you hands up completely from their politics. Only few people can be able to take that risk. Only a few people can take that risk. And we have seen Mazen Simon Ekpa do that. So those sacrifices cannot be thrown away to the dustbin. We must continue to recognize them, and we must continue to appreciate them. And how do we do that? We do that by standing our own ground and make sure that they are not forgotten. Stand your ground to make sure they are not forgotten. One way you will make sure that Mazen Simon Ekpa and Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is not forgotten is by participating in anything that has to project the Biafra cause forward. And one of the things I have been choosing is the sit at home. I didn't choose it. Mazen Simon didn't choose it. Nobody did. The people that introduced it were the DOS, but the Biafran people took it over and been holding it for more than 5 years. It scares the Janjaweed so much. It scares the Nigerian government. And when you see the kind of fear that sit at home gives them, you know that it is not something to be played with. I thank Chukwu Okike Abiama. My utmost joy is today. It has been made very clear that sit at home was not as a result of enforcement by anybody. It was the will of the people. This is one of the greatest accusations against Mazi Samuel today that made him get into detention. One of the things that was presented against Mazi Samuel, that today Finland should be ashamed of themselves. Watching Mazi Samuel almost 2 years and sit at home continue. Finland should be ashamed of themselves. They should be very ashamed of themselves. Even before Mazi Samuel was convicted, he had evidence against Nigerian government, but the prosecutor refused to collect this evidence. They refused to admit those evidence. The prosecutor refused to admit the entire evidence against Nigeria, which you believe in the appeal court will definitely appear. Even now, we have much more clearer evidence than you can ever imagine. And there is no doubt that by August 5th, our Prime Minister, Mazi Samuel, will be vindicated. He will be vindicated by the special grace of Chukwu Okike Abiama. We know that the battle we are fighting is not a small battle. We are not just fighting with men and women on the street. We are not just fighting just on that. It is a very heavy battle. But we have that belief that by August 8th, something must happen. And wherever you are as a Biafran, remember to join Mazi Samuel in solidarity in August 8th in Finland. More especially those who are in Europe. Get your ticket on time before it is late. Get your ticket on time so that you can join Mazi Samuel August 8th in the court. He has personally made that call that Biafrans, it doesn't matter the group you belong. It doesn't matter your own orientation. It doesn't matter who you believe. But at least his absence have shown so many of us the truth. There are people who didn't believe in him. There are people who were accusing him falsely. Today, they have seen the light. Mazi Samuel is inviting every one of you. Come to Finland on that day of God, August 5th. Come to the court. The information are there. Verify the information. Go online, search. You will see the information on where to go. Go there and be there in solidarity for Mazi Samuel. And I bet you, at the end of that very sitting that we start on August 5th, which we don't know how long it's going to last, Mazi Samuel will be vindicated. So, my fellow Biafrans, today is that day that no matter what they do, I will not, as I said before, that I will not stop supporting the sit at home. I am also a Biafran, airing my own opinion. It is not about group. It is not about a person. I am speaking based on my own opinion. That whatever it will take to make sure that the voice of Biafra remains in front, I will do it. So I will continue to report and encourage those who have made up their mind to continue to hold on to this legitimate demonstration of the Biafrans, onto the civil disobedience that is democratic. It is not violence, not a call for violence, not a call for chaos. A peaceful civil disobedience that we have held for years. Each time you hear about destruction has always been a false flag, which we have unmasked. All the while, when they were telling you it was violent, people were house were burned, this and that were destroyed, it has always been a false flag, sponsored by Nigerian government to destroy what the Biafrans are doing. And it is not difficult for you to understand that. This false flag is one of the ways the government of Nigeria demonizes Biafra. They did that to NSAS, the people who were fighting for a better Nigeria, not even the Biafra. Nigerian government created another group against the NSAS, turned people anti-protest against the people who were asking for a better governance. And they didn't stop at that. They made it violent and they went ahead and took innocent life through the NSAS. Up to this day, they are still denying it. Even when the international community saw it, the CNN reported it, but they deny it. As if that is not enough. They did the same thing in the just end bad governance that happened. End bad governance. And in all these cases, some people are still in detention simply because they asked for good governance. They were never violent. The people who came for NSAS were not violent. Those who came for end bad governance were never violent. The same way they attacked the Shiite people who came to protest against the traditional leader, and 1,000 people were murdered. They were not violent. The same thing they did to IPOB, took the life of members of Masor in Ozu River. 150 Biafrans were massacred while they were praying. The Headbridge massacre, we all saw it. The Abba massacre against Biafra, without any song of violence, it was just a protest with flag. So when we talk about this false flag that they introduced the sit at home to make it violence, so they will see reason to attack Biafrans and stop it. It is not something that we just come out and say. There are evidence backing it up because they have done it over and over and over again. But I appreciate every Biafra that has stood their ground. And that is why we will continue to support, do all our best to make our voice heard. In any way or manner, if you can express yourself through a seat at home, go ahead. If you can speak up, go ahead. Whatever way you are going to make our voice heard, continue to do that. And don't allow anybody to bully you or push you out of it. That is why today being Monday, the topic I have chosen to discuss this today being Monday says, Biafra under siege. Sit at home. Political infiltration and the urgent call for international attention. This is the topic we are discussing today. Biafra under siege. Sit at home. Political infiltration and the urgent call for international attention. This is the topic we're going to discuss today, and we will try as much as possible to do justice to it as we have always done. Once again, I welcome everyone that have joined us on this platform today, wherever you are joining from, whichever platform, whichever area you are. I welcome you to this very platform this morning. Remember, we don't come here for entertainment. This program is not for content creating. This is a Biafran activist platform. This is a Biafran platform for activism, for Biafra freedom. That is what it is. It is not to entertain anybody. We are not here to entertain. That is why sometimes we preach some message that will hurt you, including you that is watching. When the message hurts you, all you got to do is to look inward, find out that area that affects you. Find out if there is something you're going to amend. If there is nothing you can amend, you can all come out, join us, and then give us your own superior argument. Let us reason together. That is why we're here. We are not here for propaganda. We are here for clarity. For clarity, that is why we come here every day. That is why I devote my time twice every day. I don't come here for propaganda, for saga, for blackmail, or for any other thing. For clarity, that is why I come to this platform. Biafra land stands at a critical turning point. The Monday sit at home continue to send powerful message. A message of resistance, a message of protest, a message that says a people cannot be ignored forever. But at the same time, serious questions are rising. Questions about security, questions about political maneuvering, questions about who truly represents the interests of our people. The most important question about whether the international community, especially the United States of America, is paying attention to the growing instability in our region, Biafra land. It is a worrying question. Is the United States of America paying attention to the situation of the Biafran people? We know that today their attention is on the genocide against Christians, which affects Biafrans largely, mostly than any other person. When you use that term, Christian, it affects Biafrans mostly. But we are still saying, we are still having that question about whether international community, especially the United States of America, is paying attention to the growing instability in our region. The attack, the loss of life. Today, we will try as much as possible to break it down for the world to hear us and understand us clearer. The Monday sit at home began as a political protest strategy. Just as I said before, I have explained it in a clear terms. For those who didn't know how we start, I have explained in the beginning. A civil expression of dissatisfaction and demand for justice. That is what it's all about. Regardless of where individuals stand on its own execution, one thing is undeniable. It has become a symbol. You can never deny the fact that Monday sit at home has become a symbol. Even when Biafra has come, it will always be remembered. The Monday sit at home have made a very big mark that can never ever be forgotten in this journey to freedom. It has become a symbol of unresolved grievances, a symbol of distrust in federal political structures of Nigeria. It is a symbol that shows that many feels unheard within the current Nigeria framework. When business close, when streets become quiet, when transportation slows, it is not just economic activities that pauses. It is a very strong statement. But here is the concern. When a protest lasts this long, it signals deeper systemic failure. It signals that dialogue has broken down. It signals that reconciliation has not been achieved. Now you see their fear. This is why they are fighting the sit at home with every single weapon they have, including using force. And the forceful nature of trying to stop the sit at home is against the law. It's against human rights. And that makes everything they are doing unacceptable. That is why we are calling for international community to pay attention. And when prolonged instability meets political manipulation, the consequence can escalate. That is what we are seeing today. That is what we are seeing in the attempt to stop sit at home by force. When prolonged instability meets political manipulation, which is what Torudo is doing today, the consequence can escalate. That is why when we see all the games they are playing today, Biafrans are watching, and we are calling on the world to pay attention. Just like Mazin Nandekam used to say, that when you want to tell the story, begin from the beginning. When it will happen and you want to tell the story, start from the beginning. Because they are very fond of taking the story from the side that favors them. Everybody that comes to talk about sit at home, we only take it from where it favors him. They will not speak from the beginning. Even as they are trying to stop the sit at home by force, they are not asking, what is the reason and purpose of sit at home in the first place? Why did that stop? Has that problem been solved? Has that discussion been met? Has there been anything done? Did they actually listen to the people or hear their voice? Nobody asked that question. Across Biafran land, there are growing accusations that certain political actors are not merely governing, but positioning. We know who they are. Even though we got accusation, you and I know who they are. Across Biafra land, positioning themselves for influence. You see them positioning themselves for influence. Somebody like Dave Umahi, someone like Igbo in Anambra State, someone like Hope Uzodinma. You see how they are positioning themselves for influence. Today, you see businessmen have joined them. Someone like Obi Kubana has joined. Kubana chief priests have joined. Zenko have joined. And so many of them who are today parading themselves as city boys. The only thing they want to achieve is position themselves for influence. Nothing else. Not for the governance, not for their people, not for the interest of their own personal interest. Positioning themselves for influence. Positioning for alignment with broader power blocks. That is what we see in Nigeria today. Every single person that claims to be a representative of the Biafran people today, all the from A to Z, all the politicians, with no exception, they are all positioning for alignment with broader power blocks. That is why you see them joining the APC, even when they know that APC is a Fulani terrorist party. APC is a Fulani Islamic terrorist party. That's what it is. And we have no same ideology with them. Every one of us know how Buhari brought the APC. That is why today, when you see people they are crying for insecurity. After crying for insecurity, you still come out and you support APC. You are a mad person. You are an idiot. Today, you see them. They don't care about the insecurity. They don't care about the loss of life and hardship. They are busy positioning for alignment with broader power block today in the hand of the APC, the Fulani Caliphate. Positioning in a way that many interpret as undermining local autonomy and long-term security. That is what we see. How can somebody be aligning with a terrorist party that even a legitimate court in Canada have said that every political party in Nigeria is a terrorist organization? That issue has not been addressed. The actors that made those places terrorists, made those organizations terrorists, they are still there in charge. It has not been addressed, and yet you are aligning yourself with them simply because you feel you have the power. In case you think we just come out to say, I'm going to play a video before I continue, a video that was made by Goodluck Ebele Jonathan during the time of his campaign. I will want you to pay attention to what Goodluck Jonathan explained about the APC that we are seeing today. I want you to pay attention. I am not exonerating anybody, not even the union, any party, or PDP, all of them are the same. These are a bunch of criminals and terrorists. I want you to listen to what Goodluck Jonathan said. Pay attention to this very video. You are going to learn a lot. Pay attention so that you know the genesis of the insecurity you are seeing today. That when you see somebody aligning with this very time, you see aligning with the present government, you have to beware. I want you to pay attention. Listen to this very video carefully.
We can no longer go backward. We must move forward. And I said that when you talk about change, the only thing that can bring a lasting change in this country is implementation of the national conference that all Nigerians gathered to come up with a document and say that if we begin to do things this way, we will change this country for better. These people who are talking about change refuse to participate. They say they will not implement it. So what change are they bringing? Every time you listen to them, you see the bitterness in their hearts. Bitter, anger, as if somebody has taken their property. Venom. And I said that, look, you cannot give what you don't have. If you don't have a peaceful heart, a friendly heart, you cannot bring peace to people. For you to bring peace, you must be somebody who can forgive. Somebody who brings peace. It's not somebody who would ask people to go and kill that will bring peace. It will bring crisis to us. Especially now that society is so sophisticated and small, light arms and small weapons are all over the place. You set this country ablaze. And we will not go back to those primitive days. This country must move forward.
You heard Goodluck Ebele Jonathan there in his statement. He was talking about these people you are seeing today. That he asked them to join hand and implement the constitutional conference that was held, where the entire Nigerian people agreed on a way forward. Remember, one of the problems that we have is that in the amalgamation, nobody was consulted. One of the problems is that Nigeria was as a result of one man's signature, Logluga, who amalgamated the southern and the northern protectorate, without the endorsement from the people. There was no referendum. There was no consultation. There was no agreement. Only a signature from Lugard created Nigeria. And somehow, during the time of Jonathan, he came up with the Constitutional Conference where all the tribes were represented, and they brought out a solution. But this Fulani Caliphate refused. In fact, even when he handed that over to Buhari, after Buhari took power, Buhari took that very document and threw it into the dustbin. What is the document? Regional government. What is in the document? Restructuring. That is what all the regions were talking about. And the Janjaweed rejected it. Instead, they say they are going to rule. They want to rule by sword. In fact, they were called, that was the time they went and brought these terrorists you are seeing today that are Nigeria. Instead of implementing that Constitutional Conference, they went and imported the terrorists they brought today that they are calling bandits. That was when they brought them to Nigeria. That was when they brought them. Instead of following the Constitutional Conference that was held by the indigenous people, they said no. Instead of that, better they go and import terrorists. And that was exactly what they did. And today you see some people, Igbo person, somebody of Igbo extraction, aligning himself with these terrorists, positioning himself for influence among the terrorists, which they will definitely take his life. Positioning for alignment with broader power block, simply because they are in charge today. You support Tinubu, you support ABC. Positioning in a way that interprets as undermining local and long-term security. They don't even care about your security. They don't care about mine. The fear expressed by many citizens is not just about governance. It is about demographic shift. It is about land control. It is about political leverage. It is not